A very, very, very long time ago in a land far away, there was an amazing, amazing kingdom. And the king there, he had every kind of beautiful riches in this world that you could imagine. He had textiles that were gorgeous. He had jewelry that was the most amazing, shiny, beautiful things you could ever see. He had so much stuff. His entire palace was full of just museum-like art and beautiful things from all around the kingdom. But his most absolute prized possession was a ruby. And I'm not talking like a small ruby. This was a massive ruby that he could hold in his hand. And every single day, the king would walk, he would stride, really, through his palace, and he'd walk to these doors that were guards right outside, everything. They would step aside, and he would open the doors with such lavish and flourish, and he'd walk inside, and there on a pedestal was a velvet pillow with this massive ruby and a glass box over it. And he would walk straight up to it, he would take the glass box off, and then he would pick up the ruby so gently in his hands. And in this room, there were windows coming from all sides of everywhere so that the light streamed in just right. And the king would hold the ruby, and he'd move it this way and that, and just admire it for like 5 to 10 minutes a day, just because it brought him joy every single day. And then he would gently place it back on the pillow, put the box back on top, walk out, make sure the guards were back, doing their thing, and then he'd walk away feeling good again. Next day, every single day, he walks over, they step aside, he opens it with a flourish, he comes inside, takes off the box, and then he backs up, and he goes, "Ah!" And the guards outside are like, "Your Majesty, what is going on?" And he says, "Somebody has defaced my ruby." And they're like, "What? We've been here the whole time with our swords, everything. We haven't moved, we swear." And he goes on a rampage. "Who did this? How did this happen?" There's a giant gash across the face of the ruby. And the king is beside himself. Even though he has so many riches, this is really his most beloved possession. And he's just forlorn. He can't help how sad he is about it. So his advisors, they gather, and they come and they say, "Your Majesty, how can we fix this? What are we going to do?" And they call in people from everywhere around the kingdom. They call jeweler, I don't know who works on jewelers. Yeah, jewelers? Yeah, on jewelry? Jewelers. Long week. And then they call in other kinds of folks who are artisans with their hands. Who can fix the king's beloved ruby? Who can come in and make it better? And person after person after person comes in, and they try. Nothing. Nobody can fix this beautiful gem. So weeks and weeks go by with this. People coming from all over the kingdom, far and wide, trying to fix this stone. Nobody can do it. And then one day, there's a soft knock on the palace doors. And the guards open it, and there's a young child outside, maybe about 10. And they're like, "What are you doing here?" And the child says, "I'm here to fix the king's ruby." And the guards laugh in the kid's face because they're like, "You're not going to do this. What are you talking about? We've had adults from all over the kingdom come in. You think you can do this?" And this child is calm and collected and just says, "I think I will. I'd love an audience with the king." Enough people come out to see the audacity of this 10-year-old. What? This kid thinks he can fix this ruby? That's crazy. They come through, and finally they say, "Oh, why not, right? Nobody's been able to fix the ruby." So they get an audience with the king for this young child. And the child steps up to the king, all confident, and says, "I can fix your ruby." And the king says, "Why not? Let's give it a shot." So the child says, "I need 3 days. Nobody can come in. Just leave me be, please. Food and water, and that's it." Okay? The king says, "Okay." So they let the child in the room. They have all their tools with them, everything. And the king leaves, kind of is a little nervous for those 3 days, walking around like, is this it? This could, I wonder, is this kid going to fix this? Like, how amazing. And after 3 days, the king is really nervous. And the child walks out, looks so tired, and says, "I really think I've done it. I hope you like what I've done." And the king walks into the room with the ruby, takes off the glass box again, and just looks at the stone for a moment before tears start to roll down his face. Because on the face of the ruby, the child has carved a beautiful rose with the gash being the stem. And the king hugs the child and tells them how beautiful of a job they did on it. And they become, one of the king's favorite people in the whole kingdom. And the child walks away, and everyone hears about the amazing feat that this young person did in this kingdom. And we tell this story every single summer at camp for 2 reasons. First, because the power of young people is astounding. And the things that the people who are seated in this room right now can do now as young people and as they grow up, those are also astounding. And the second reason is because sometimes hard stuff really happens. Sometimes things do not go the way we think they will. Sometimes your camp burns down. Whoops. And things just are hard in life sometimes. Unexpected losses, who knows? But there's always a way to find something that can be beautiful in any situation. And that's what we always try to do, and that's what we always yearn to try to find at camp, is a way to look at the beauty even when things are very hard. Shabbat shalom, everybody.